me say something about Long Island. What do you think about? You think about Monte? You think about Pharaoh? You think about the #1 wrestling show in Long Island? That's what Tommy Wildfire Rich thinks about. So, ladies and gentlemen, as a good friend of mine on Georgia Championship Wrestling said to me one time, he said, ladies and gentlemen, don't miss it. Be there.
Yeah, baby.
The Monte and the Pharaoh Show is brought to you by...
Because wine is your second favorite four-letter word. California wine, New York attitude. Good fucking wine.
Yeah.
Jimmy, I gotta take a dump.
What?
No, I mean I need a dumpster.
Well, for all those needs, you need to call Big V Dumpster Rental, Long Island, New York, 631-900-DUMP.
You need a body shop? You need engine repair? Auto Excellence, Collision Specialists, 631-261-6420. That's 631-261-6420. Auto Excellence. All right, welcome back to Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast, filmed out of Indie Music TV here out of Ronkonkoma, Long Island. At the board is our super producer, Matty Ice. And to the right is the star of the show, Mr. Jimmy Pharaoh. Jimmy, how are you, buddy?
Very good. What's going on, partner?
Thanks for coming in today.
Yeah, well,
It's been a long weekend, right?
It was real easy to come in today.
That's for absolutely sure.
Really easy.
Before we reveal why it was easy to come into today, I would like to thank the band that sings the theme song for Monte and the Pharaoh. That is Jimmy Pharaoh's own band, Wisteria Hall. Him and his partner, Bart Griggs, who we consider one of the greatest songwriters of this era, sing songs such as In My Dreams, This Life, Not Far Behind, Here Comes the Rain, and, of course, the theme song, Riding High. You can find their music on Spotify, iTunes, and Reverb Nation. Monte and the Pharaoh could be seen on the Monte and the Pharaoh YouTube page, the Facebook Live Monte and the Pharaoh page, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Anchor, Twitch TV, the Monte and the Pharaoh page, Channel 115 every Tuesday from 7 to 7:30. That's New York cable. And for early risers on Channel 115 every Saturday from 6 a.m. to 6:30 a.m. for the early risers. And on Channel 120, 2 a.m. to 2:30 for those people that don't like to go to bed.
Like me.
And this, for ourselves, is an honor to have not probably. Well, before I even say this.
Oh, man. Make this count, brother.
This is probably the biggest moment in the history of the show.
Yeah.
This gentleman has meant so much to the world of pro wrestling.
Yeah.
And to these two individuals just sitting at this table. But before I address this gentleman, I want to ask him, can we call you Bob Backlund or do we call you Mr. Backlund?
You call me Bob Backlund.
You got it.
Nice.
So I will say this.
Nice.
This is our honor to have the greatest all-time wrestler in the history of professional wrestling, Bob Backlund. Bob, thank you for gracing us with your presence.
Thank you very much, and I appreciate that introduction. But it's I'm in the business, and there's a lot of tough guys in there, and they there's a level that's sometimes higher and higher and higher to get to that point. But
Well, I would tell you, sir,
I love what I do.
From this man here and this man here, you are the level. You are the man. You raised us on professional wrestling, sir.
Yeah.
And regardless how your feelings are, we love you. And thank you so much for what you've done for us personally and the professional wrestling world. This is a very important moment for us, and I'm sure for the fans who are watching you right now.
Well, back in the day, Vince McMahon Sr. was looking for All-American Boy to take over for Bruno Sammartino. And he looked all over the world. And he met a lot of people, and he saw a lot of people that he had working with him that do certain things. And then he saw me, and he called the promoters and asked who would be the best guy to be the All-American Boy for my company. And every one of them said me. Because they knew I was reliable. They know I would show up. They know I'd outwork everybody. And some of those people that were working for Vince Sr. were partying all the time. And I did the partying when I was 15 years old. I got over it. But that's how it started. And I want to be a role model. I want to do the right type of things. I want to help people. I love doing what I'm doing.
I want to thank you personally because as the sport has, and I call it a sport, and I always will, as the sport has gone on over the years, the entertainment factor of it has gone way over the top, but the person who made me believe in this sport from day one was you. Because you, to me, were legitimate, and you were legitimate, and you brought sport to sports entertainment, and I have to thank you for that.
I thank you a lot for that, too. I'm very proud of your words that came out of your mouth. Because I like wrestling. I love wrestling. And, it's a business, but still, it's not easy, and you can get hurt pretty easy.
Oh, yeah.
And that's one thing, too. I never was hurt in the wrestling business. And because I protected myself, we learned when I was practicing, trying to be a wrestler, we learned things to do when we were taking somebody down and slamming them on the mat. And if you don't do that, you're going to hurt yourself and your opponent. So there's a big art that goes on throughout a match when you're at the arenas or whether you're watching it on TV.
So, Bob, let's go back a little bit. You talk about Vince McMahon Sr. looking for the All-American Boy. Here you are coming from Princeton, Minnesota. Quite different than New York City, right? Because we're going to call the WWF at that time New York City.
Absolutely.
Sure.
How were you scared? I know about you being North Dakota State and what a great amateur wrestler you were.
Yes.
But were you scared to come to the WWF?
Culture shock?
I never knew what was going to happen, but I was never scared. I was never worried. I just took it one day at a time, did things on the way, and did a little more the next day. I made Vince Sr. recognize what I was doing. And he recognized what the other guys didn't do. And I think the only reason he picked me is because he could believe in me. He could trust me. But I didn't worry. I got into business out in Minnesota. A guy named Eddie Sharkey trained me in a gym in Minneapolis. And he saw me working out there, and he came over to me and asked me if I would want to go out and be a professional wrestler. And I said I sure would. And I signed up to his training school for professional wrestling, and we went on. And finally, he gave me the phone number of all the wrestling promoters, and I called them and I sent a resume and a picture. I asked them, I asked the people, can you use me in your business? Can you give me a start? And the first one that I called was Bret Hart's father. And Bret Hart's father is a big wheel in Canada in the business.
Sure.
And he was talking to me. And you know what? We were at a payphone, and I was putting money in the phone, and I never got to ask him, can I come up and maybe have you beat me up in his museum, in the gym, in his basement?
You ran out of quarters?
And it went dead. The phone went dead. And I lost him.
Wow.
But I put another nickel in. It wouldn't take it. So I hung up and I went another way.
Wow.
The next day I called Leroy McGurk in Tri-City Wrestling. He was a national champion in when he was in college. He liked me because of that, and he gave me a date to go to Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and have my first match. And on my first match, I left home with a green Chevrolet Impala and $20 in my pocket.
Oh boy.
And I got down to Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I was looking around. I was at the building, and I went out and had a match. And I did pretty good, but I made some mistakes, which you have to make those mistakes to learn. Anyway, Leroy McGurk gave me a envelope. I went out in the car and I opened it. There was $5 in it.
Oh my God.
And I had 29 cents left from the $20 that I had in my pocket. And I was wondering how I'm going to eat. And I was wondering how I was going to get through. But I wasn't going to give up.
There you go.
I didn't give up. They were testing me. They wanted to see how bad I wanted to be a wrestler. And I started to love the business. And I started getting a little better. The Funks is a big name in wrestling. They saw me. They brought me to their territory. And I got out of the gutter where I was in the car. I was sleeping in the trunk most of the time. But I got out of the gutter there, and they liked me. And Terry he knew everybody in the country that was doing it. And then they sent me to Florida. And they were going to call and have me come back. They never called, and I never went back.
There you go.
And then it got up to, the news got up to Vince Sr., and that's where it started.
Had you ever watched any pro wrestling before getting into pro wrestling?
Very little. My mom was a big fan, but I didn't watch a lot of it.
Okay.
But there's a big art. When you're in the ring, you want to have the people down a level as far as being energetic, and start down in that low level, and you want to build where you get them into the match more and more and more and more, and then you have a great big comeback at the end. And you know what? You do that, and you're going to make money. They're going to come back and see you again on the return match.
Sure.
And they certainly did for you.
Sure,
That's
for
sure.
years and years and years, for sure. How was the first conversation with Vince Sr.? Can you tell us about the first time you spoke to Vince Sr.?
Yeah, well, that was a long time ago.
Okay.
And he just asked me a bunch of questions, and he said, "You're going to be my man." It's in my book.
Absolutely. And by the way,
There's things in my book
if anyone has not read this book, and I'd be highly surprised if anyone didn't. In fact, I could tell you, Bob, a couple of summers ago, I sat at the beach and read this book cover to cover.
Yes.
And it's incredible. It is, tell me if I'm wrong, but it's basically your career or your life in wrestling from start to finish. You cover almost every match with every opponent.
Yeah.
It's incredible, this book.
Yeah.
The name of the book is Backlund, From All-American Boy to Professional Wrestling's World Champion.
I'm glad you said that, because I want people to know that I'm not making it up when I tell them about that book. I'm not getting cocky but that's what it is.
If you are a pro wrestling fan,
Yeah.
this is exactly how a book should be written. The way you explain match by match and the things that went on, and you actually go into your opponents about how they were as a person, as a wrestler. I mean, for fans out there, I was a Jesse Ventura guy and I was an Adrian Adonis guy. You cover them in this book and your matches with them. And I remember them like I was watching it back then, the way it's written.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yep. Yeah, that's what I thought. It's very detailed. And then I kind of like the 18 principles that would help you in life in the back of the book. And the first one is the golden rule. And if you don't know what the golden rule is, it means treat people how you want to be treated. And then there's one about getting your kids into sports so they can grow and get stronger and live a longer life.
Amen.
Exercising is a road to getting better. Sitting down in a chair all day and not moving, and you're going to shrink down sometime sooner or later.
I better have all the chairs removed from my house.
Yeah.
What do you think? I'm not. Bob, at the time you're going to the biggest federation here on the East Coast. You're going to New York City, and you're faced with filling the shoes of what many look at.
The greatest wrestler ever.
You're filling the shoes of Babe Ruth.
Yeah.
As you come in there, was this intimidating to you? Did you think about it? Like, oh my God, I have to fill the shoes of Bruno Sammartino. How much pressure was that for you? Or
you know, it wasn't any pressure at all. I believed in myself. I believed what I was doing, and I believed that I was doing it right.
You were.
And
that's for sure.
You were.
I liked Bruno Sammartino a lot, and but I got the honor to get in his position and run with it. And Vince McMahon Sr. was very behind me.
Sure.
He didn't listen to the guys when they start talking, why didn't you pick him? Why didn't you pick us? We've been with you in your company for so long. And he had his reason, and he stuck with me. And it was nice to be able to have a boss that's going to do everything that he needs to have done for his guy that's working for him. And I'll never forget him. And he was a great person, and he had a lot of energy, and he had a great business, and he wanted it to grow and grow and grow.
On the subject of guys who we've heard were against the idea of having you become champion, you defeated superstar Billy Graham. I'm not sure if I got the date nailed, but I know I think it's February of 1978.
Pretty close.
You know, if I'm not mistaken. How was your relationship with Superstar Graham? Did he resist the idea of giving the belt up to you behind the scenes?
Oh yeah. He didn't want to do that at all. You know, he didn't want to do it at all. But you know, it was because of himself. In the business, you don't do things for you. You do things for the business and the match. You can't go in there and think about, I'm going to look good in this. You're going to have to share that. You're going to have to get your opponent over so you can draw more money and do a better job. There's no playing around in there, and no trying to take, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to get this guy and tear him apart.
Did he resent you? Did he treat you, wrong during any of this?
He didn't want to do anything with it, but he knew he couldn't do anything else as far as beating me.
Right.
I'd get him in a bear hug, and he's supposed to be strong. I'd get him in a bear hug, and I was standing up in the air. I got my hand squeezed behind my back, and I pick him up, and I bring him down right to the mat on his shoulders, and he's in the pinning position. And then I let him be there for a little bit, and I pick him back up. And he can't do that to me.
Yeah.
I did it to him.
That's right.
There you go.
So I didn't look as strong, but I believe inside I have some strength.
Well, we'll discuss that because I have an interesting comment to speak to you about. But Vince McMahon Sr. has a great reputation to be a man of his word.
Yeah.
You also worked for Vince Jr. when he took over the company. Can you tell me the differences between the two?
Ooh.
Well, the biggest difference is you can trust Vince McMahon Sr., but you can't trust Vince McMahon Jr.
Mm.
And I can say that because I got the belt one time, and he told me that I was going to keep the belt for a year and drop it back to Bret Hart. 3 days later, I'm in Madison Square Garden, and Diesel, he told me that Diesel's going to take the belt because somebody else left the business, and I need him to have it. So he beat me in 9 seconds and took the belt. And I'm looking forward to going in for a year and helping and giving the belt back to Bret.
Right.
It really was something that I wanted to do, and I never got to do that.
Wow.
But you still did business, though.
Yeah.
He did what he...
And Vince has a hard time doing something and then not being able to control that person.
Did you have any words with Junior after this sudden turn of events with the belt? Did you say anything to him like, come on, man?
No.
Really?
Nothing.
He just did.
But he, one time he wanted me to turn into a bad guy. Mm-hmm. And I did turn into a bad guy, but I wanted to. I had it all planned out. But he says to me, geez, why don't you turn into... I said, I got a daughter and she's going to start school next year, and I don't want to hurt her problems or hurt her feelings or have people laugh at her and scream at her because her dad's a bad guy. He walked around a little bit in the back room, He came over to me and says, well, what about the money? And I said to him, my daughter's more important than the money. I don't care about that. I'm not doing it. And I walked out. And he likes to have it where you do what I tell you to do, or you're not here.
Understood.
And that, my friend, is a
And that's all in the book. Most of it's in the book.
Absolutely.
I'm not lying. I'm not stretching the point. I'm just telling you how it was.
Once again, what Mr. Backlund is talking about is Backlund, from All-American Boy to Professional Wrestling's World Champion, written by Bob Backlund himself and Rob Miller. And what's really important is the foreword is from Rowdy Roddy Piper.
Wow. Hello.
This is a must-read book. Bob, do you know where the book is sold that you could probably tell people?
I have it, and it isn't sold, I don't think, any place. But I have it, and the way it is, I can't do anything that, with the visor stuff in there. You can't have any book signings, and I gotta find some place where I can go and just market it.
Right.
And I like doing that. I believe in the book. I think it's a wonderful book, and I think if somebody reads it, they could maybe change some of the things they do to live a longer life.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Bob, over your storied career, you have worked with a countless list of characters that are held in such high regard over the years. But I want to ask you, because you were around during a very special time when managers meant something. Can you tell me any thoughts or memories on Captain Lou Albano, the Grand Wizard, and let's complete the trifecta, Classy Freddie Blassie?
Well, all the managers were, they were tied to Vince Sr.
Okay.
And he would tell them what to do, and they would do it. They'd tell them who they were going to manage, or they tried to figure out how Jimmy Snuka would sit. Captain Lou Albano, how they would fit together, or the Wizard, and they worked on that pretty hard. But the managers are a big part of the business, and a lot of times they go in the ring and wrestle because of what Snuka did to him, or Captain Lou Albano did to him. He started stealing his money in some way or another. So but the managers are kind of an important part of the business.
Did you ever want to be like, if you had turned heel? Let's just fantasize for a second. If you had turned heel, of those three, which one would you have liked to have been paired up with? I'm just playing fantasy wrestling right now.
If I turned into a bad guy,
back in those days,
yeah. Well, I turned into a bad guy, and I don't think I kind of liked being on my own.
Right.
And I wasn't I didn't. I liked being alone. I was doing something and doing the talking, and you don't want somebody else doing the talking for you.
Sure.
How did talk? But I when I was a baby face, I say, I was very humble and I couldn't do a good promo. When I became Mr. Backlund,
right later,
I built up an attitude with the talking, and my discourse got a lot better. And I could yell and scream just like everybody else.
Sure.
And tell them, hey, we're going to have fun tonight if you like it or not.
There you go.
We're going to put you to work.
How'd you feel about Arnold Skoland? Being paired up? I think it was important to have Arnold Skoland in your corner as a face in those early days.
I tell you, that's important because he was there, and he, a lot of times, some people did some things they shouldn't have been doing.
Sure.
And he took care of it.
He got in there, right?
Yeah.
He did something to assist you.
I agree with that.
There you go.
But still, to tell all the people that are out there in your audience, I loved every day I was in. I couldn't wait to get to an arena, and I couldn't wait to get home to go play with our daughter in the snow. I wanted her to know she had a dad.
There you go.
And the business was part of my life. It was my life. Yeah.
Well, Bob, by the reaction of the fans watching right now, there's people out there saying this is a Christmas gift for them. This is so wonderful that you're here, and thank you again. This is incredible. Very happy people out there right now listening to you. And by the way,
you know what?
You didn't know, your book is on Amazon. Some of the fans wrote, so it is available on Amazon.
Okay. Bob's like, it is?
Yeah. Well, yeah, people are people, and they got their ways. But you know what? They got to be committed to their ways, and they got to treat you good, and you got to treat them back. The golden rule, if everybody participated in using the golden rule, just think where we would be right now as a country.
Yeah, it would be a lot better off. Bob, we recently, unfortunately, lost wrestling great Pat Patterson. One thing we go back to in our early days is you had a 4 consecutive match program at the Garden with Pat Patterson. Any memories of the program and of Pat, of course, passing?
Oh yeah, big memories. Pat Patterson, it was he's been in the business. He built a match while he was going in there, and he's the only man in the world that ever went 4 times in a row in Madison Square Garden.
There you go.
And when we got done with the people, they were just out of it as far as excited and happiness and wanting to have another war. They didn't want it to end. And then Vince Sr. is very obvious of that. He's out there listening. He said, "We'll have it again then." And they announced the match for the next show. And there we go again. 4 times in a row. It was fantastic. And he was a real big artist in the match as far as building it. You start out real slow, you do something, you get broke down again, and you do it again. And each time you do that, the people get louder and louder and louder because they want him to beat me up, or I want to beat him up. And he goes out and creates a match, and has an ending that they possibly might not like. He's going to win. Boom. And he's going to get the title next time, they're saying. And that's the ball game.
That's the ball game.
But
4 matches is unheard of back then. 4 matches at the Garden.
Crazy. 4 matches at the Garden.
That's unheard of.
I mean, Jesse was in and out. 1 match.
Yeah, that's right.
Boy, was he mad.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you took him out too quick,
You took
Bob.
him out like
you
that.
took him out too quick. I guess he couldn't work with you though. He was a
Kurt
talent.
Patterson was pretty high up in the business.
Sure.
And, he helped Vince Jr. on some things. So he did it right in the ring. He did it right in the ring. It wasn't about him. It was about the match. And you learn a lot from him.
Yeah.
And
Nice.
I enjoyed every match.
Nice.
We had some pretty long matches out of that 4.
Absolutely.
But
All right, with that, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be back with the iconic Bob Backlund.
See you in a sec. M&J Video Games and Collectibles. Sport and non-sport cards, wrestling items, autographed items. We buy, sell, and trade. M&J Video Games and Collectibles, located at 1049 Queen Street, Southington, Connecticut. Call us at 1-860-479-9223 or 860-93-GAMES. M&J Video Games and Collectibles. Oh, what's up, Mike?
Hey, Jimmy, what's going on?
Yeah, nothing much.
You know, Jimmy, I love this country.
Oh.
I love to buy Made in America material. And I love to buy my artwork at TAG, T-A-A-G, Made in America, 14 East Broadway, Port Jefferson, New York, 11717. The shop at the corner. All right, welcome back to Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast, Monte and Pharaoh, seen every Thursday, produced out of Indie Music TV in Ronkonkoma, New York. But this is a Saturday,
Yeah.
and boy, is this a special Saturday.
Yeah.
Interviewing the iconic, the former 2-time world's heavyweight champion, former tag team champion,
Yeah.
former All-American,
Yeah.
probably, if not, the greatest pro wrestler of our time,
Oh, yeah.
the great Bob Backlund.
Absolutely. Bob, I want to ask you, You obviously had a relationship with Andre the Giant. Can you give us any stories on Andre, possibly?
Oh yeah. He's got
Oh, yeah.
There's good stories about him, and then there's some bad ones. But to me, he liked people that weren't swearing and weren't the drugs and this and that.
Okay.
He stayed away from that, but he could drink 100 bottles of beer in one night. And he was like, go after it. And,
did he ever try to take you out on a night on the town? Because I'm not sure if the 18 rules of Bob Backlund involve 100 bottles of beer.
No, I would be with him. I would be with him, and I'd leave him early. I said, I'm going home.
I'd leave him.
I'd leave him early,
okay.
And then I'd go home, and he would come up and say to me, how come you left so early? I said, well, I got to get up the next day, and I got to work out in the morning.
Okay.
And if you want to come with me and work out with me in the morning, then I'll stay with you at night in the club.
Fair.
And he said, I'm not going to do that.
I didn't think he would. I did not think he would.
But he had a sense of humor, and he was a good man for the business.
Bob, I was recently on the phone with William Murdoch. He's an author of a couple of pro wrestling books, really good writer. And we got into a conversation about Harley Race.
Ooh.
And he told me that Harley told him the strongest man he's ever wrestled was you.
Nice.
Really?
Nice.
Yeah.
That's what he said.
Yeah.
My question to you was, and he couldn't answer this for me, so you had those unification bouts when you wrestled the NWA champion.
Yeah.
Were you ever worried that Flair or Race would go into business for themselves and try to take that WWE title for you? Because you remember, you're competing organizations. Did you ever think they were going to try to do that type of situation?
Are you talking about Ric Flair?
More Harley Race, right? I don't think Flair really could do anything against
Harley
you.
Race, for some reason, he really liked me. He helped me some stuff in the ring. I had a match up in upstate in the AWA with him, and he was teaching me how to create a match in an hour. And you learn a lot every time you do that. But he was really behind my door as far as wanting me to be getting over. And he had a belt in St. Louis, and he wouldn't drop it to anybody but me.
Wow.
And that's pretty nice of him to do that. I was young then, but he said, I want to drop it to this guy.
Wow.
And that's in the book too.
That is. How about Flair?
Ric Flair, I was going to wrestle him down for a championship match, and there's something happened that went wrong with the promoters, because they had so many promoters. They had to make a decision what they wanted to do and then what the finish was going to be, and they were kind of arguing with Vince McMahon Sr. and they kind of treated me different than normal. And I called up Vince Sr. and I just telling him that, geez, I'm here. I said, nobody's talking, nobody's there. And he said, well, they're all talking about what to do. And they got these people, all these promoters that are calling in and trying to maybe get the belt on Ric Flair. And I said, well, why don't you tell them to try it, and I'll just do what I want to do in it. And a few hours later, Ric Flair come in and said, "Don't hurt me."
There you go.
That's right.
There you go.
And then we went on. And then they made us do a kind of thing where he won the match, and I didn't lose the title.
That's great.
Yeah.
And again, you could hear all these stories on Backlund, from All-American Boy to Professional Wrestling's World Champion. Again, people, I've read this book from cover to cover. It is so detailed. The way it's written, it's like watching it back when we were watching it when we were kids.
Can't get better than that.
It's unbelievable.
Paints
and again,
a picture.
How Bob goes into each wrestler, that he gives you a look about what kind of wrestler they were, what kind of person they were, and it's a must read.
And I have to ask this while we have the man here. Back in those days, this was junior high school for us. His favorite was Magnificent Morocco.
Yeah.
My favorite was Greg Valentine. Guess where you come in? Oh, no. Here he comes. He's going to beat my guy.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you about the night of my, I think it's the 14th birthday. Greg Valentine, who you fall on top of.
Yeah. I remember the match.
And the referee counts, and Valentine pops up, and he tells the referee, I won, and he walks out with the belt. Any memories of that particular night what went on behind the scenes? And what was it like working with Greg Valentine? Because for a whole week, I almost thought my guy had won the belt. So much for me.
Well, he was a great wrestler. He'd been in the business for a long time, and his father was in the business.
Johnny.
And his father was had some really great things to do. He could get more heat. They figured and the people really hated him, and that's a good thing. It's for him. It's not a bad thing. But Greg Valentine developed into a good wrestler too. Like, he had the figure 4 leg lock for his ending, and we go an hour match. In the last 30 seconds, he'd have the hold with your legs. He had it on me, and the bell would ring, and they all thought I lost. But you know what? The time went out. And now we got to come back and do it again.
Was he one of the first guys you went 60 minutes with?
No, Harley Race, Ric Flair. I went. Let's see, Don Morocco.
Okay.
Jesus, everybody.
We were at your Texas Death Match with Morocco at the Garden. Absolutely. That's how far back it goes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I had a lot of. Don Morocco. I had 14-hour matches with him. And they kept telling, Vince Senior kept saying, he said, well, I'm waiting till you get it right.
That's funny. That's
cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. Still waiting till you get it right. Cha-ching. How about the list of guys you went through during our high school years? It was ridiculous. Adonis, Morocco, Ventura, Playboy Buddy Rose, Mosca. Can I say Killer Khan?
Can I throw in Killer
Why not?
Khan was in there.
I mean, this list is unbelievable, but the greatest one I that for me just stays in my mind was the storytelling with you and Jimmy Snuka, that cage match. Can you fill us in on that? What a moment.
Well, he was a little shaky when he's in the ring.
Oy.
But we were in the cage, and he climbed up the cage, and then there was another something over the cage, so he climbed up the top of that, and I was down on the floor of the mat, and he jumped down and tried to land on me, and I moved out of the match. I moved out of the way because I wasn't going to let him hit me because he was off balance most of the time. And I dove out of the ring, and I kept the belt.
Well, there's a moment. Talk about storytelling.
Oh,
I think he comes off. You could correct me. He comes off that top rope, maybe with like a cocoa butt.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then he decides, hey, he's not just going to do the Superfly splash on you. He's going to the top of the cage.
Yeah, that's what he did that day.
But you do the pop-up. You see he's going up, so then you act like you're out unconscious. And then when he jumps, you move out of the way.
Yeah.
Was that your idea? Is that your writing right there?
Yeah, I let him think that he was going to get me. Yeah.
That is one. I was there live.
Yeah.
And that was one of the most. Talk about telling a story in a wrestling ring.
Yeah.
That simple move, incredible.
By the way, I know it sounds. I don't even know how this sounds. Is that something you guys can even practice before you have it happen?
No, there's
oh
no
my
practice.
God!
No, you don't do that.
So that was a one-take hello.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm amazed at that.
And you know, when he started going up there, I acted like I was going to grab him, and then he just turned around and laid down on the floor.
That's great. Boy. Look, I know you probably stood clear of this, right? But as you know, what were your thoughts when you heard that Jimmy's girlfriend, Nancy Argentina, came up?
Pardon me?
What did you hear, or what did you know about when Nancy Argentina, Jimmy Snuka's girlfriend, was found dead? I know you probably stood clear of that situation.
You know what? You're there, and I'm here.
Yeah.
And I was here all the time.
Right.
I wasn't there.
Okay.
Right.
I didn't hang around with him. I didn't drive with him.
There you go.
I had some people. They had me in the car one night, and they started smoking marijuana, and I rolled my window down, and they rolled it back up, And a couple minutes later, I said, "Stop the car. I want to get out. I don't want to be in your car."
Right.
And they wouldn't stop. And you all know the ones that were in the car.
Yeah.
The click guys. They wanted to be in a click all together so they could get power.
Right.
And I knew all about that. And I didn't do that. I walked away. They went in the bar, and I walked home from there. It was in Georgia.
Wow.
And I was, and there was one of the guys that I had a lot of respect for because of what he did in amateur wrestling, but I lost that respect after seeing him do marijuana, and after him wanting me to do it with them. They wanted to be in their push so they could put pressure on somebody if they want to leave, and everybody would leave with him. The people that were smoking.
That's a great message. You're sending a great message right out there to the kids and the world, right? Not to be pressured into something you don't want to do.
Yeah. Well, I didn't have a big family, but I like kids a lot, and I have fun talking with them and playing with them.
Did these partying guys ever make you feel isolated afterwards, or try to bully you in the locker room? Oh, this guy's a square. Did you have to deal with any of that nonsense?
There was nothing said. No word was said about that.
There you go.
And that was in the book.
There you go. He put him in a chicken wing anyway.
Without a doubt.
That would be the end of that.
All right, we'll be right back with pro wrestling icon, Mr. Bob Backlund.
Can you get a little humble on?
That's right, folks. Canine Corral for all your dog daycare and overnight care. Call 631-549-1544. That's 631-549-1544. And Nitro's Garage for all your automotive needs. Call 646-675-2349. That's 646-675-2349. For all your automotive needs, Nitro's Garage. Ask for Jack. Jeff Quest, graphics design, custom vinyl lettering, and all your art and video needs. 516-317-8204. That's for Jeff Quest, graphic design.
All right, welcome back to Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast, Monte and the Pharaoh. Seen every Thursday, produced out of Indie Music TV in Ronkonkoma, New York. Again, this is a special Saturday edition of Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast. And again, we have the honor of the greatest pro wrestler in the history of pro wrestling, Mr. Bob Backlund. Bob, change starts to happen in the WWF. Vince Jr. starts to take over. He buys his stuff from his father. He decides it's time for a change, right? He wants to take the belt from you.
Yeah.
Rumor has it, and we've had some of these wrestlers in studio, and they claim that you had a problem with turning the belt over to the Masked Superstar, because I heard he was the first choice.
Yeah.
Is that a true and accurate story?
No, he didn't want to give it. He didn't want to put the belt on me.
No, not Superstar Graham, Masked Superstar.
Okay.
So when they were taking the belt from you at the end, they're like, Bob, we're taking the belt from you. We want to put it on Masked Superstar. Did that ever take place? That's the story that's been told.
Not that I remember.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Was it your choice or Vince's to put it on the Iron Sheik?
That was theirs. I don't get involved with the angling of what's going on in the ring or what's happening in the ring.
So you didn't feel strongly one way or the other as to how your title change was going to go about?
What we were going to do, no.
Fair enough.
No.
Fair enough.
Let Vince Sr. pick the time, and he picks the guys, and I just go in there and have the matches and try to protect the match and the champion.
How did you feel about Iron Sheik take? Because I got, just as a fan, watching you all those years, your entire reign, I watched you beat Morocco. I watched you beat Valentine. I watched you beat Mosca, Khan, Stan Hansen.
Yes.
I watched you beat all these guys.
Sabisco, Slaughter.
And then you lose to the Iron Sheik. And as a fan, I was confused. I'm like, he's not as good as Stan Hansen. He's not as good. What a nerd I am anyway. But how did you feel about the Iron Sheik?
The Iron Sheik was an animal. The Iron Sheik was an animal.
Obviously, in real life, obviously.
He was in a country and worked in that country. He was a Shah's bodyguard. And he had a person that he was his roommate, and they found him dead. He came to Minnesota because he was a wrestler. He was in the Olympics in Mexico. I like somebody that knows how to wrestle.
There we go. That we've heard.
Yes.
But he ended up coming to Minneapolis, and he helped Vern Gagne train people. And so I knew him before he came out here, or out down into the WWF. And I knew how he was, and I knew he knew how to wrestle. And I think a wrestler should have the opportunity to get a belt, and I didn't mind him getting it.
Okay.
So, Bob, one of the great interviews, again, is when you lose the title to the Iron Sheik.
Oh, man.
Lord Alfred Hayes is interviewing you.
That was great.
The emotion that you show, I have to ask, was that true emotion? Here you are, 5-year champion, people loved you, and it's got to hurt when they're taking the title from you. Was that legitimate emotion, or was that purely acting?
You know what? When I speak, it doesn't come from here. It doesn't come from over there.
Yeah.
It doesn't come from over there. I don't make things up, but it comes from here.
There you go.
I say what my heart wants to say. That's my tool. And you can say, this guy's almost crazy. But I don't care.
Oh.
I'm doing my job, and I'm trying to do it the best I can. And I want to be for those people out there, not the ones inside the club.
Wow.
I love what I'm doing. I did anyway. And the Sheik, I knew he was a great wrestler. And I respected him. And you know what? He says some bad things about some people once in a while in interviews. But he's never said a bad thing about me.
Who could say a bad thing about you,
Bob Backlund.
To be honest with you, who could say a bad thing about you?
Yeah. I don't know, but I'm just saying, he takes advantage of some words with some people.
Understood.
If he doesn't like them. But he appreciated what we did in the ring.
Bob, you represented to me, and obviously historically it's been proven to be true anyway, you were the last of the great, when it was sports first and entertainment second, in my mind, because as pretty much right after you're champion, we have WrestleMania, here comes Hulkamania. How did you feel about Hulk Hogan when you first got the news that Hogan was going to be champion? Did this bother you? Was Hogan what you don't think of when you think of a professional wrestler? I'm curious as to how you felt about that.
Yeah, well, I'm thinking about somebody that that knows how to wrestle, and it's a good thing to have that experience. But I don't mad him. I didn't try to beat him up or anything like that. But Vince McMahon says the words, and I do the job.
Did you feel it was the wrong direction, or did you see that Hogan must have something?
I just knew it was going to happen.
Right.
And that's the way the business is.
Right.
That's what the business does.
Sure.
So we're trying to tell a story that will draw people in to the arenas, and come and follow you and do that and that. Yeah.
So, Bob, you explained earlier, right, that they wanted to turn heel, dye your hair black, and, your daughter was growing up and you didn't want to cause any issues. Is there any regret in maybe you could have did that program because maybe you would have been part of WrestleMania 1, that game changer? Is there any regret from Bob Backlund at all?
No, I never got, they didn't want me. Yeah.
Didn't want you? Really? Wow. What's wrong with them?
I'm
not understanding
craziness.
that. How about when you did return to the WWE? And this, to me, was this was crazy.
Well, I went wild.
I'm like, what is going on? I'm like, I mean, that's.
But you were never a true heel, though. You were a man who stood up for his beliefs. You weren't a heel. You were just someone that stood up for his beliefs. Exaggerated, right?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
But how do we go from they didn't want me to now they want you all these years later?
a great
How
question.
did that phone call happen? How does Bob Backlund return in a form I don't even recognize? How does this happen?
I don't know. I'll tell you.
Don't know.
I'll tell you. It's all from the heart, and I'm saying things from the heart. And
Well, they clearly reached out to you. Were you surprised? I mean,
before I give a talk, 3 seconds before the talk, I didn't know what I was going to say in everything.
Oh my God.
The Hall of Fame. I gave a speech there, and the president, he comes over because he was inducted in the Hall of Fame the same year. He comes over and tells me, if we could show that film to all the people in New York, we could shut the place down. And and then when I gave that speech, they wanted him to write a speech to me. I got up to the podium, and I didn't know anything that I was going to say the 10 seconds before I started.
wow.
It was just a natural thing that comes out of my body.
Were you surprised when they asked you to return in the early '90s after your first run? You had to be surprised.
They wanted to do something with that would help the whole group.
Okay.
Not just me, but to help the whole group.
Wow. Bob, I always like to hear about the wrestlers' families. How did your wife and daughter handle your schedule, and were they super supportive? Like, how did that work?
It was a long road, and my wife was in North Dakota, and I was in down in Texas, and that's where I met her. And I used to call her on a certain day and talk, and she got her dream job right after college, and she was working there. And I called her up on my fourth time that I called her. She said, "I quit my job." I said, "You quit your job? That's the job you love." And she said to me, "I gotta be with you. I love you." And she drove her car from North Dakota State University, stopped in Princeton, Minnesota to save my parents, and then came to live with me.
Incredible. Bob, I want to get some fan questions in. Are you watching wrestling presently?
We don't have a TV.
Okay.
Wow, I thought I was the only one. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. That's cool. How come?
We don't want one.
Nice. Boy, he keeps it simple. I don't want one either.
What's your diet and exercise like?
Diet. I eat meat. I get meat from a farmer that has it's all, there's no drugs in it, anything, and I eat have potatoes with it. I steam it, and I have potatoes with it, and certain other things I put in there, some broccoli and some onions and things like that, and that's pretty much my diet.
Do you get those things from the farmer too? Because I'm picturing you not even going to the supermarket. You just go to the farmer.
No, I go to the farm.
Wow.
He's
got a farmer.
Yeah,
Oh, my
and they
Lord.
got a little place where they store everything. I just go up there
Nice.
probably once a month to get my meat.
Stock up.
And what do you do to keep yourself in such great shape, exercise-wise?
Well, I've been running around a lot and been busy a lot, and with this, I don't know what's going on behind the scenes, and I might not be as in good a shape as I was.
You're in pretty good shape.
I hadn't gotten much sleep in the last maybe month and a half, and but I'm still, I don't want to give up on anything, and we got to win the war. We got to win the war, not them.
Amen. All right, with that, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and then The star of the show, Jimmy Pharaoh, will be on stage with Mr. Backlund as Mr. Backlund shows one of his incredible tests of strength. We'll be right back. In the mood for a freshly roasted cup of coffee? www.offtherailscoffeeroasters.com.
And APB, American Protection Bureau, voted #1 best on Long Island for all your security needs. Call 631-390-9050. That's 631-390-9050. APB.
You want to star in your own success? Call QuickCast. www.quickcast.com. 866-7-CAST-NOW. That's 866-7-CAST-NOW. QuickCast.
Star in your own success.
Welcome back to Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast, Monte and Pharaoh, seen every Thursday out of Indie Music TV. This is a Saturday, of course, because we've got pro wrestling icon Bob Backlund. So, Bob, you used to do those steps all the time.
The Harvard step test is what they call it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You couldn't do that anymore, could you?
I could.
Come on, stop it. No way. No way.
I could. Yeah.
Show me something. Can you, look, with all due respect, you're in great shape. How old are you right now, sir?
71.
71, in great shape. There's no way you can do any kind of test of strength.
What about that wheel? You roll the wheel
That's
out.
right, yeah.
Yeah.
You still do that too?
I used to do 400 reps a day with that wheel.
What can you do now?
And I used to do the step test for an hour.
Can you?
But you think I'm lazy?
Yeah, a little bit. Sure, yeah. When you get older, everybody gets
do you
lazy.
think I've lost all my strength?
To be honest, Bob, yeah, I think so.
Will you do what I do if I do something?
Oh, now you.
Sure, why not?
Oh, don't say that.
What are you going to do? Just walk? I can walk.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Hey, don't bring them over here by me. I'm minding my own business over here.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, yeah. What is going on here?
Yeah, I'm going to do it here.
What are you going to do?
Okay.
Oh, no.
Go here and here.
What? What? What the?
Look at that. Holy cow.
You're going to do this next, right, Mike?
No. Oh, my God.
What? He's wiggling his toes! Oh, no. No wonder Valentine lost.
Holy cow.
Dude, this is ridiculous. Well, I used to think I was in shape. So much for me. I'll see you later.
Look at this.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
What? What?
I can't get down.
What do you mean?
Yeah, what about that?
Yeah, baby. Oh, my God. Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, the great Bob Backlund.
Oh, my God. Incredible.
Oh, my Lord.
Incredible.
Oy.
Holy
Blowing
cow.
up all over my body.
I'm exhausted
Really?
just looking at that.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Well, he clearly doesn't eat White Castle. Anyway.
Wow. Unbelievable.
How was that for you?
Oy.
That was
I'm busy with that.
pretty amazing. Oh my God. All right, Bob. So, a couple of things.
Couple.
Backlund, from All-American Boy to Professional Wrestling's World Champion. Available on Amazon. Also through John. You want to step in real quick to talk about where you?
I'll talk right here.
Well, you got to get on the mic a little bit. Come on over. You're okay. You
Bring
can
him
sit
in.
next to
Bring
Mr.
him in.
Backlund.
There you go.
All right.
The King of
So
Connecticut,
go ahead.
folks.
Tell the fans out there.
If you want to get that book, it's an awesome book, by the way. and Bob will autograph it for you, right, Bob?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You can contact us at M&J Video Games and Collectibles, 860-93-GAMES, and we'll mail it out to you, or you can come to the store. And Bob is he lives near me.
M&J.
He's a good friend, and we do the virtual feed sometimes. So we're going to be doing one coming up. So if they want it, they can get it that way too. Just keep an eye on with you guys and with us.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, 860-93-GAMES. If you want to get an autographed copy of his book, which is a great read, you got to get it.
Well, we'll be promoting it. So we like to leave off the show with thank you, John. The Pharaoh's final question, the star of the show. So Bob, the Pharaoh's going to hit you with his final question. Wow. Unscripted, unrehearsed, ready to go. This is your one time.
I know.
This icon sitting in front of you.
He just stood on his
Make
head.
it count.
Bob, what is your greatest favorite moment in professional wrestling? Do you have a match that just you always think about? What is your favorite moment in your entire career? Do you have one?
That's pretty hard to. I have a lot of favorite. Like when Greg
My guy, Valentine?
Valentine, yeah. Greg Valentine, when he had me in the figure 4 leg lock and I was about to, and the bell rings, that's kind of it was a strange moment. And then when he walked out with the belt one night, that was a strange moment.
That was
but
you see, he's mentioning my guy.
He is.
My guy.
He is.
There we go. Thank you.
I don't have any problems with anything that went on in the ring, and I mostly find that everybody was trying to do it the best they could and entertain the people.
All right, I'm going to hit
you to be entertained. You want you to be happy.
Yes.
We want you to be, hey, I had a good time tonight.
Oh yeah.
And whether it's business or work or not, you just enjoy my entertainment.
We were fortunate enough to see you at Madison Square Garden. We were fortunate enough to see you at the Comac Arena. Wherever we saw
at
you.
the Nassau Coliseum. Any memories in the Nassau Coliseum?
Yeah.
Those were great days.
All right, Bob, I'm going to give you Monte's final question.
Oh.
The Mount Rushmore of professional wrestlers. Who is Bob Backlund's Mount Rushmore?
Gotta pick 4
of professional
You're not
wrestlers?
the first one we've done this to. You got to pick 4. Who is Bob Backlund's Mount Rushmore?
I'm trying to pick out 4 wrestlers that were the best.
The best.
That you would put on Mount Rushmore if you could. That you feel epitomize professional wrestling. These are the 4.
I think Don Morocco
Nice.
would deserve some special thing
Nice.
because of what he does. We had our matches that were fantastic.
He was magnificent.
Yes, yes. And then even George Steele.
Wow, that's
nice.
great.
What a guy, and what a character. And he gets the people some way or another throughout the match.
Okay, we got 2. Does my buddy Greg get on this thing, or?
And I like Ken Patera.
Wow, great.
I liked him because he was always about the match.
Right.
And he helped me. He had my first match with me on my first match in the WWF.
Wow.
And it was down in New Jersey. And he really did some things where he could have just made me look bad, but he did things to make the match look good. And I grew, and my level of like with the fans went up because of what he did for me in the ring.
Okay.
And then we had another match, and it was a little better than the one we had before. And then the people get more behind you, and that's what a babyface has to have.
So we got Morocco, we got Patera, we got Steele. Who's number 4?
What was it?
Yeah, one more for. Is it Valentine?
No, it's
It's not Valentine. I lose.
Not
Your
Valentine.
guy got on the statue.
That's it.
Oh my God.
So Valentine got all the mentions, but Morocco got to the top 4.
Then we're even because his favorite. We'll take this up later, Bob. Who's number 4?
But Don Morocco was the one.
Okay.
One of those 4.
Oh, we got Morocco, Patera, Steele, and Valentine.
I'm going to help you with one.
Yeah,
Bruno Sammartino.
Bruno. Oh my God.
I wasn't here that much, so I didn't really.
Right.
I knew his name. I knew where he was.
Right.
But I wasn't around watching his matches all the time.
Right.
And going to Madison Square
Right.
Garden.
So Valentine is on there. So there.
All right, so we're almost out of time. What is your message to the people of this country from Bob Backlund in these hard times between the virus, what's going on in the government, all this racial tension? What does Bob Backlund say to the people to help them?
I ran for Congress one time, and I enjoyed it. And I was down in Washington, D.C., and we can't give up. We got to keep believing ourselves. And you know what? Here's what I say. We can do it. We can do it. I wrote that on some of the papers that I signed for people earlier today. You can do it.
Yes.
They don't have to do it for you. You do it. And I think our country should be us, not them.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
With that being said, Jimmy, you want to send us out?
Well, first of all, just before we go, once again, Bob, thank you so much. We've been wanting you on for years. We always hoped that this moment would come, and we are not disappointed in the least. Thank you so much for being here today.
Yeah, no,
Thank you.
And Bob, to be honest with you, we always said at the beginning when we started this journey and we've progressed as people started to enjoy the show,
True.
We said if we had Bob Backlund on and it ended tomorrow, we've achieved what we wanted to achieve.
Yeah.
So we thank you for allowing us to have this opportunity, Bob.
I get to send out a good, I'm trying to send out a good comments and stuff to the people.
And that you are.
And
Thank you for everything you've done, Bob. Thank you for your career and the person you are today. Thank you.
You've been watching Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast, Monte and the Pharaoh, seen only here out of Indie Music TV. You can catch us on YouTube, the Monte and the Pharaoh page, Facebook Live, Monte and the Pharaoh page, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Anchor, Channel 115, where you will see Mr. Backlund in probably a three-parter.
Probably.
Every Tuesday from 7 to 7:30 for early risers, 6:30 a.m. to 7 p.m. And on Channel 20 for you people that like to stay up late, 1:30 to 2 a.m. I want to thank you again, Mr. Backlund. I want to thank you, Jimmy.
Thank you, Mike.
And once again, for the fans out there, one more time. Backlund, from All-American Boy to Professional Wrestling's World Champion, written by Bob Backlund and Rob Miller. Forward by Roddy Piper. I will tell you, I've read this book. Oh, yeah. It is incredible. And after this interview, I'm going to read it again.
Absolutely.
This is Mike Monte.
This is the Pharaoh. It don't get better than this. Until next time, later.